Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, firearm seized in St. Thomas. A man is in police custody following the seizure of a firearm in Danvers Pen, Trinityville, St. Thomas on Sunday. Reports from the Morante Bay police are that about 1 p.m., citizens observed a man armed with a firearm walking along the roadway and summoned them. On their arrival, the man led them to a vegetated area and took a homemade gun from a tree. The firearm was seized and the man was taken into custody. His identity is being withheld pending further investigation. Trelawny farmer charged over stabbing during dispute at a bar. A 24-year-old farmer has been charged with wounding with intent following a stabbing incident at a bar in Thompsontown, Trelawny. The accused, Shaquille Joseph, otherwise called Eddie, of Wire Fence in the parish, allegedly attacked a man during an altercation around 2 a.m. on Saturday, July 5. According to reports from the Falmouth police, Joseph and the man were involved in an argument when Joseph used a knife to inflict a wound to the man's neck. The injured man was assisted to hospital where he received treatment. Joseph was later arrested and charged after being positively identified. His court date is being finalized. Opposition criticizes use of older buses for rural school bus system. The opposition has continued its broadside against the government's recent rollout of the rural school bus program. Shadow spokesperson for Transport, Michael Phillips, and his security counterpart, Senator Peter Bunting, used their platforms on Sunday evening to blast the rollout, expressing concern for the safety of commuters, while also dismissing claims that the People's National Party is against the school bus system. Going further, Mr. Phillips, who is also Member of Parliament for North West Manchester, issued a direct challenge to the government for a national debate on the future of Jamaica's public transportation system as it relates to the National School Bus Program. Mr. Phillips outlined what he described as a more equitable and effective public transport system. The Shadow Minister argued that the PNP's model not only provides a greater reach for student transport, but also protects small and medium transport providers who risk being displaced by the government's model. Meanwhile, Senator Bunting, in his critique, took issue with the condition of the buses, which he claimed could compromise the safety of passengers. Mr. Bunting said the buses were retired and old, many with over 10 to 15 years old, with hundreds of thousands of miles, adding that they were pulled out of circulation in the U.S. because their engines are tired, their suspensions are worn, their wiring systems are brittle.
Yes, I raised the alarm and warned, so we don't want to kill off poor people picking with some wolves. And I make no apology for that. These buses that they're bringing in, these are not pre-owned vehicles. These are retired old buses. Many are over 10 to 15-year-old with hundreds of thousands of miles. These were pulled out of circulation in the United States because their engines are tired, their suspensions are worn, their wiring systems are brittle.
Transport Minister Darrell Vaz indicated that the refurbished 42-seater school buses procured for the rural school bus program are primarily manufactured in the United States. Ambulance drivers from Kingston and the St. Andrew Health Department call in sick. The news has been informed that ambulance drivers attached to the Kingston and the St. Andrew Health Department have called in sick. It's understood that the Kingston Public Hospital, Bustamante Children's Hospital, National Chest Hospital, and Hope Institute are affected by the action. The dispute comes over delay retroactive and overtime payments, which were expected to be paid last Friday. The workers say they were promised the outstanding payments in April, which have been owed since 2022. The action is expected to last until Tuesday. Vector workers and the bus drivers have also called in sick. A source said the delayed payment has been affecting staff morale. Transport Authority seizes 273 illegal ride-hailing vehicles in crackdown. The Transport Authority says it has seized 273 vehicles operating illegally as taxis via the Uber and the InDrive ride-sharing apps over the last 3 months as part of its intensified enforcement drive. Managing Director Ralston Smith says the authority will continue its enforcement operations through covert activities supported by special seizure teams. On June 4 last year, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz announced a 12-month ban with immediate effect on ride-hailing transporter services InDrive, Uber, 876 On The Go, Lyft, and Ride Jamaica due to a national security concern. The move came a day after a convicted sex offender who was offering ride-hailing services was implicated in the murder of a teacher. However, the decision sparked criticism, particularly regarding the legality of the ban. In May of this year, Minister Vaz said the government is aiming to implement a national ride-hailing policy by the end of the current fiscal year in March 2025. There are no specific regulations governing the operation of ride-sharing apps in Jamaica. As a result, they fall under the same laws that apply to all public passenger vehicles. Drivers using ride-sharing apps to offer taxi services must hold a PPV license as stipulated under Section 13 of the Transport Authority Act. Smith is urging operators intending to transport commuters for a fee to apply for a road license, warning they would face fines of up to $100,000 or imprisonment for up to 2 months for operating without one. The authority is also appealing to commuters to only use legally operated vehicles identifiable by red license plates. Passengers are further encouraged to report white-plated vehicles that show up to offer taxi services when booked via the Uber or InDrive apps. Reports can be made via WhatsApp to 876-551-8196 or 876-279-8515. Desperate search, father and his son reported missing. 70-year-old Lestin Duncan Sr. and his son, 29-year-old Lestin Duncan Jr., fishermen, both from Marcus Garvey Drive, Kingston 12, have been missing since Friday, June 27. Duncan Sr. is of dark complexion, medium build, and about 167 centimeters, or 5 feet 6 inches tall, while Duncan Jr. is also of dark complexion and medium build. Reports from the Marine Police are that about 5:50 a.m., Duncan Sr. and his son were last seen at home. He was last seen wearing a gray shirt and blue pants, while Duncan Jr.'s mode of dress is unknown. They have not been heard from since. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Lestin Duncan Sr. and Lestin Duncan Jr. is being asked to contact the Marine Police at 876-948-1778, the 119 police emergency number, or the nearest police station. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.